Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. I know I've been saying this for a while, as far as I can remember, really. I mean, anytime the topics come up. But if you are a man and you like women, especially pretty women, does not automatically equal you are a gooner. It should be pretty obvious. It should be pretty normal. It should be what we might call heterosexual. It might be the law of nature, but it's pretty obvious. Now, I know that the gaming industry itself is trying its darndest to make women as hideous as possible because they're not for your eyes. But if you're playing a video game that's meant for you, it's literally meant for your eyes. So let's not get into semantics, right? We don't do that here. No, we're not pedantics in that. No, it's for you. But a woman being smoking hot in a video game, it's just okay. Sure, go for it. It can be an average woman. At this point, average women are super sexy just because we don't have any super sexy above average women in games anymore. For the most part, like the average game that comes out doesn't have crazy hot women in it. It's usually one out of every like 50 or 60. So even the average women are just like, wow, that's a pretty girl. Okay. If you think they're pretty, cool. If you don't think they're pretty, cool. Whatever the case might be. But a pretty character is a pretty character regardless. So something that I found interesting popped up in my feed. Study finds no link between sexualized female video game characters and misogyny. I can't believe this actually had to be said. I can't believe people actually, like... Where are we as a society that this has to be even a question? Like, how wrecked are we? Like, how much of a waste of space is humanity if we can't figure this out for obvious reasons? Ask any married man, do you think your wife is sexy? Do you think your wife is hot? They're probably, if they're smart, say yes. Are you gooning to your wife? Yes, literally, that's the point. The point is to... I don't know if you know what intimacy is, but it's many things, including a sexual intimacy in terms of, sexual content, sexual interactions, doing the deed, doing the dirty, all the fun jazz that comes along with it. Meta-analysis, 18 studies, I love meta-analysis, shows no connection between sexualized game characters and reduced self-esteem, body image issues, or sexist attitudes, which implies that women who play the games aren't automatically just, lower self-esteem because, oh no, there's a pretty girl in the game. None of that applies. They don't have body image issues because most of the girls I know that play these games just inherently think the women are hot, pretty, cute, girly, whatever the situation might be. And if it's a guy, they're of course going to be going, oh, he's super hot, or this, that, or the other, whatever the case might be. Everyone has their own preferences. You can even be a quote-unquote gooner and enjoy a game that has a really hot female protagonist that you don't find particularly that attractive because it's not your taste. Doesn't mean that the character's not attractive. It just means you're not attracted to that character, which is perfectly fine. Lots of people do that. You might not be into playing a female character, so you play a male character instead. Doesn't mean that the female characters in the game aren't hot. Yeah. Like, but sexist attitudes. Apparently, there are those typically on one particular ideological stance that think that having sexy women or hot women, sexualized game characters, keep in mind it says sexualized game characters, not sexualized women specifically, does not add to any type of misogynistic or misandrist behavior. So we knew this. We've talked about it. We've reported on it. We've done a whole bunch of different stuff. This isn't exactly new. So why is this a topic? Well, because people make it that way. It turns out that making the game's female characters sexy doesn't lead to misogyny. Who would have thunk? Obviously, you get your definitional courteous Eve post. But down here there was a little meme, and I thought this was very apt for what's going on. It's like, oh, it's literally just a girl. Ah, pure goon slap. Yeah, except that it's not how that works. Feminists when seeing more women in video games, but the women are hot. That's true. Eating good. I'll ignore that. I also thought this one was pretty. What's with the misogynistic design for incels? What's this misogynistic design for incels? Can't you be more empowered feminist icon like Lara Croft? What's with the misogynistic design for incels? It's really hard to read, sorry. Can't you be empowered feminist icon like Bayonetta? What's this misogynistic design for incels? Can't you be more empowered like 2B? Then it goes over here. Can't you be more empowered feminist icon like Juliet? And he goes, you are here. And that's the whole thing. Is it's like every time a game comes out, the prior characters that were being blasted end up being it ends up being the following like glorified religious icon for the cult that is anti-women. It's very weird. Ironically, the anti-women cult's mostly by women, but then we already know, scientifically speaking as well as societally speaking, that women diss on women more than anybody else. If you took every man in the world that said this woman's fat or this woman's this or this was that and said all the horrible things you could say to a woman, whether they're true or not, that still wouldn't be a drop in the bucket compared to what women say to women. Are women misogynistic because they say that? They can't handle that because it's too much, I guess, truth. And obviously the funniest stuff, which you get definitely in the anime community. And I did like this one. Why does a combat droid have to have, or combat android have heels? A gives an elaborate answer, but the biggest reason is I just really like girls. Based. And then obviously if you're familiar with the Onekabara series, basically bikini samurais killing zombies. There you go. Levels are not that great design, but the girls are definitely great design. I think I've shown ones I've gotten before, on streams, live streams that is. But yes, I thought it was an interesting concept of, we've been talking about this for so long, and by all intents and purposes, this shouldn't be that surprising to literally anybody. And this should be something you should send to anybody and say, hey, there you go. Your whole stance is just worthless now. So I know that won't happen because they won't accept it. And keep in mind, this particular thing was published 3 years ago. So it's not new per se. It's just more studies are coming out for the meta-analysis to be even bigger. And with that analysis being even bigger, it's more and more evidence in recent times, like 3 or less years, presumably, that we were right the entire time. And we should never have gotten to this point, but apparently it had to be said, so we said it. So feel free to find this on Pirate Nation's Twitter, at Pirate Nation, Pirate_Nation specifically, minus the E on Pirate. Share it with pretty much everybody and be like, hey, guess what? We was right all along. So I don't know. I think this is getting a little old that we have to defend this. I mean, as a practitioner of Dead or Alive series, as obviously Stellar Blade, Bayonetta, um, the Nier series, that kind of stuff. Um, even, oops, right here, if I can point, right there. The Blood Rain games and stuff. Like, it doesn't hurt to have attractive women in games, and it doesn't hurt to have um, games that are well made have females that aren't vomit-inducing visuals. So why not just let things work the way they want? But you can't do that when you're an activist. So they go out of their way to destroy things that we like or things that are just okay. Like, you might not be into Stellar Blade because you don't want to play a female, or you might not be into Stellar Blade because you think it's over sexualized yourself, but you can understand, people will enjoy that game, and it's okay if other people enjoy that game. And you could potentially even enjoy watching somebody else play it, but you just don't enjoy playing it yourself. There could be lots of different reasons you could look at this. So ultimately, breaks down to who's the game for? What does the target audience want? And can you give the target audience what they want? If you can, golden. If you can't, or are you expecting success of some sort? Like, that's not how this works. You gotta give the people what they want. Excuse me. Ooh. And if you're an activist, you just need to stop working on those stuff. But I know that the reason you're there working on that stuff is so you can stop it. But you're not stopping it. You're just ruining the studio you're in, which is detrimental to your financial success. But it seems like your identity is more overwhelmingly important to you than your financial situation, because you guys will like sink an entire studio and then go on GoFundMe and try to have people pay you to stay afloat. Like, people care about you at all. You're not making a positive difference in anything. In fact, you're doing the opposite. Now, I can't wait for a collective shout to be like, oh, we're doing this, women, misogynist, and then we could just be like, here's 18 meta-analysis studies. Checkmate. Bye. But I guess we'll see how this plays out, because again, the content itself isn't necessarily new, but every single day we get more stuff, and then eventually there's another study that backs it up again. That 18 will become 19, and it'll keep going on up. And you can always use it as a weapon, so to speak, and beat back the bad ideologies that are cancer on our society and on our industries that we enjoy of our hobbies. So let's take back culture one step at a time, shall we? Thanks everybody for hanging out. Check out description for Twitter and Discord if you'd like to hang out and be part of the community or whatever. We have memes in Discord. We have a bunch of fun little dealios, and I'm always on there literally every single day. Check out in the descriptions as well for other content creators that I have found to be very good and would recommend other people to watch, as well as other companies. There's companies you can support as you will. I'm sponsored by neither content creators nor the companies. I just think that we should encourage people to participate in those other content creation or businesses that are not trying to sink us, and they're actually actively promoting us because they like anti-censorship. They want to be more or less of a beacon to those who are on their side, and they want to be on our side. So check them out. If you know of a content creator or a business that you think fits that mold, let me know in the comments below. Leave a comment on what your thoughts are for this topic for the day and anything of that nature. And I hope to see you in the next one. Walk in the light, my friends.